Welcome back to BROJO Online. Today I'm going to record a podcast that will also be a series of videos about what they failed to teach you in school. One of my favorite compliments that I could possibly receive that I get on some of my videos and content is simply a question: why don't they teach this in school? Good question to ask. Many of us, nearly all of us, left school feeling underprepared. And as we went out into the adult world in our 20s, we came to realize that we had learned almost nothing about what we really needed to know. As I saw someone on the internet put it the other day, thank God we learned about parallelograms instead of taxes. It's really come in handy parallelogram season. This kind of problem affects all of us, and we spend the rest of our adult years trying to catch up to the education we should have had. So ultimately, you left school not knowing shit. Now, I'll make an exception. Primary elementary school, I think, is sufficient. We need the basics of maths and writing and reading, and those things that are kind of core functions in society. And the general gist of how to learn, I think, is taught fairly well in most primary elementary school level. So I'm going to leave that one alone. Let's say that one is okay. Up until about the age of 10, schooling is good enough. But high school and university are an absolute shambles. At the point where we get to choose subjects, or we get the illusion of choice of subjects, and we're supposed to specialize and focus in on our strengths, we're funneled and batched into a system that only supports a very limited few types of intelligence. There's about 9 recognized types of intelligence, and only about 2 of them are supported in school, and the rest are considered optional. They're almost shamed, really. The artistic, the social, the physical. Those kind of intelligences, which of course a lot of people have, are basically neglected in school, or at least given a deprioritization in the status. You're discouraged away from them. You've got to understand, school's not designed to make sure you have a good life. The school system that pretty much is the same all over the world, as far as I understand it, was designed during the industrial era to make you into good workers and controllable taxpayers. It's not designed to make sure that you have a fulfilling, happy life. So for you to leave school and think that that's what it prepared you for is going to leave you very disappointed. I personally figured out how to run a business without doing any university business courses, and I learned more about psychology through specific trainings with expert people after university than I did in my psychology degree. University itself, in my opinion, is basically a scam, and you can get the kind of education that you need from university in a far more effective and expert way in different ways that university teaches. In both high school and university, teachers are limited by curriculum. The way teaching works in school simply doesn't work. I basically think there should be no such thing as a career teacher. There should be retired experts who come to give their wisdom to the new batch of people in a very specific area, a niche of expertise. Most teachers are either people who just did a teaching degree and then go to high school, or they went and got their doctorate in a university and then just stayed there as a professor to keep teaching. They didn't go out into the world and have a career in a specific field and then come back with all that experience and wisdom. They just kept reading from the same books that they got taught from. So I'm going to challenge myself. In this short podcast and series of videos, I'm going to try and do more for you than 5 to 10 years of schooling did. Lesson number 1. The thing they didn't teach you in school: how to build self-confidence. Seems like a kind of important one, no? Considering your entire quality of life is absolutely based on how self-confident you are and almost nothing else. I mean, you can have the worst luck in the world and still enjoy your life if you're self-confident, and you can have the best, most abundant life in the world and still commit suicide if you're not. So this core subject, this thing that's more important than anything else on this planet, is not taught in school. Why? Because they don't know how to teach it. Most of the teachers I witnessed in school didn't seem to have it themselves. You've got to understand, nothing is more important to your quality of life than self-confidence, so really nothing should be getting more of your focus, at least until it's built. Until you look in the mirror and go, I am a consistently long-term self-confident person, I got this, then that should be the goal, to get to that point. Anything else is subsidiary. It should be contributing to that goal and nothing else. But you've got to understand what confidence is. I'm not going to go into too much detail in this video because I've got other pieces of content that can pick apart the details. But you've got to understand confidence is not competence. Being good at something and feeling good about that is not the same thing as deep self-confidence. Deep self-confidence should be there when you're unskilled. It should be there when you're doing something new. It's about a feeling you have about yourself, not a feeling about your skills or how well you do in a certain area. One way to look at confidence is a pie that's cut up into different pieces, and you can work on each of the separate pieces to create the whole pie. Now, we could argue for days as to what all those pieces are, but I'm going to give you some that I think if you worked on all of these, you can be pretty damn sure you're going to end up being confident. I know it worked for me, it works for my clients, it works for anybody I studied who became self-confident. These are the key things. I'm going to give you a quick tip for a daily practice on each of those pieces that will ensure that if you were to engage in this daily practice every day, within a couple of years you're going to be extremely self-confident. Courage. What is courage? It's doing the thing you're uncomfortable doing. That's it. Facing your fear. It's about doing the thing you'd rather not do because it's a bit uncomfortable emotionally or physically. So how do you engage in the practice of courage every day? You choose one thing you don't want to do that you know is good for you, and you go and do it. Maybe it's making an uncomfortable phone call, maybe it's doing a workout, maybe it's choosing the healthy meal over the delicious one, maybe it's walking through the rough neighborhood instead of going the long way around the nice neighborhood. Whatever it is, look for that least comfortable path all the time, every day, and try to take it at least once a day. The thing that you'd rather not do, that you stay away from because it brings up emotions you're not feeling particularly safe with. Go into those emotions every single day. Think of it like trying to chase fear until there's none left. Self-respect, as it sounds like, it's treating yourself as if you're somebody you respect. Now, generally what this means is confrontations and boundary setting. It means going for what you want, standing up for what you believe in, and holding the line against people that try to encroach on that. In terms of a daily practice, it just means standing up for yourself. It means at some point being disagreeable and confrontational with somebody. Let's say you work in an office environment and you're interacting with people all day. There's no way you agree with every single thing that's said, but a lot of you will behave like that. Find one thing to just stand up on a little bit. It could be as simple as saying, I don't really like the song that's on the radio right now, even though everyone else seems to like it. Or it could be as big as saying, the way you treated me is what I consider bullying and I'd like you to stop. And everything in between. If you can't think of anything, wait until the next time your food that you ordered is not exactly up to standard and send it back. Anything that shows that you are willing to get uncomfortable to protect yourself. That is self-respect. Responsibility, the father of all the masculine values, in my opinion. Responsibility is talking and acting like you own your life and that everything in it is a result of your own decisions, because that's what it is. The point you are in your life is the end result of every decision you've ever made. So there is really no accuracy in blame or shirking of responsibility. You made the situation happen, it's your job to deal with it. Even if somebody else is behaving badly towards you, it's your job to react in a healthy way. So they're not the problem. If you can control your reactions, your behavior, if you can say, this is my job, I got this is my life, it's my job to deal with it, you're going to feel that power. Curiosity. Assume that learning more is good for you. Does that not sound right? That being wiser is good for you? So aim to learn something every single day. It can be a fun activity where you jump on Wikipedia and select a random page and just read it. Or it could be more intense, like trying to find someone who's smarter than you and ask them questions. Or it could be just a sense of kind of humility, where you go about your day going, I could be wrong, let's find out how I am. And anyway, by the end of every day, you should know a bit more than when you woke up this morning. Humility. I know I kind of covered this with curiosity, but humility is just the understanding that you could be wrong, that you're a flawed human being like everybody else, that you're subject to all the same sort of biases and weaknesses as any other human, and seeking that out rather than trying to pretend it doesn't exist. A very simple daily practice is to look into an area where you feel very sure of yourself and try to prove yourself wrong. Try to find a counter-argument or a counter piece of evidence that at least slightly changes your perspective. If you do this every day, you're going to become a very, very wise person. Philosophy, which translates to love of wisdom. Wisdom and confidence go hand in hand. The wiser you are, the more confident you are. The best way to get wise quickly is to find wise people and go, what do you know that I don't? And learn from them. You can read their books, you can get a mentor or a coach, or you can simply spend as much time as possible with people you admire who seem to know more than you do, and just absorb that wisdom and try to put it into practice in your life. Compassion/acceptance. I'm not sure if those are actually different things. But this is about letting the world be the way it is. It's about trying to understand as much as possible. It's a type of curiosity in a way, but it's a curiosity with no goal in mind, no attempt to win. It's about letting go. In a daily practice, this means probably trying to get to know somebody who you feel repelled by. It means spending a bit of time to stop at the bus stop and talk to the homeless guy. It means donating a bit of your leftover money to that charitable organization. It means surrendering at the team meeting when the whole team has voted against you and just letting the loss happen. There's lots of ways to just accept and be compassionate about life as it is, rather than trying to fight against it or trying to pretend that it isn't that way. And lastly, my favorite, shameless integrity, aka honesty. Shame is the opposite of confidence. Shame is, there's something wrong with me. And the way to remove that belief is to share the thing that you think is wrong with you so often that you no longer feel that way. You can imagine it kind of like in a quantitative way. If you have a big list of all these things you're ashamed of, and you basically share them all the time until they eventually become emotionally neutral, where talking about them is more like self-deprecating humor than it is about toxic shame, then eventually the list will be empty. And if you're without shame, what are you? Confident. So how do you do this? Every single day, you pick one thing that you don't really want to tell people about, and you find someone and you tell them. You don't have to do the thing you're terrified of telling people about, and you don't have to tell unsafe people necessarily, though you might build up to that. Just the thing that you would usually keep to yourself because there's no reason to share it and you're uncomfortable sharing it. Find someone to share it with. Get it out once, and get it out again and again. And I'll tell you this, you take the thing you're most ashamed of, see how you feel about it after sharing it 100 times with 100 different people. See if you're still ashamed of it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And that's building confidence.